Today I'll be talking about how I grew my Robinhood portfolio from $0 to right now it's right around like $5,200, and today it is exactly at $5,189. As you can see right there, it's kind of hard to see with the lighting right there, as you can see on the Robinhood app. So on my channel, I constantly update you guys with how my portfolio is doing, and I literally just posted a video 2 days ago where I screen record my Robinhood app. I go over all the stocks I own and everything I own in my portfolio, how well it's doing over the past, weeks, couple of months, things like that. So a lot of people, I think, as well, when they come to my channel, and a lot of people just in general when they begin investing, a lot of people ask me, how much should you start with? And on the Robinhood app, I literally started with $0 and then ended up depositing a little bit more money and more and more and more. But I think a misconception or a common misconception people have about investing overall, and I know this because they ask me it all the time, is they think they could start off with, let's say, like $100 and like they have a goal of just turning that into $10,000. And it sounds easy, and you probably see a lot of like investing gurus or experts out there that are claiming to do this, or claiming to maybe even have students who are buying their courses that are able to do this, but in reality, that's not actually how investing works. I think it's very, very unrealistic and a little bit naive, but it's okay if you're a beginner investor to think that you're going to just start off with $100 and somehow push that and turn that into $10,000 or $100,000 in X amount of time. Personally, I feel like it's not like a bad thing or anything, but I think a lot of people, when they get into investing, they sort of think, okay, which stocks are going to give me the most money, the most returns, the quickest returns. They try to go for that like get rich quick. They try to find the shortest route in investing. And my personal investing philosophy is long-term investing. I'd rather make money in 20, 25 years than make money in maybe a couple of months or even like 1 to 5 years. But anyways, I think, like I just said, a lot of people get confused, especially with the Robinhood app, because there's a lot of people out there sort of promoting it and really pushing it hard. And a lot of people get confused with the Robinhood app. I mean, Robinhood is a legitimate brokerage. It's not like some like get rich quick app or some app that you just like, mess around with and like get money. It's not like Sweatcoin or like, I don't know, like even like the crypto apps that like those like lending platforms or things like that. Is a legitimate brokerage account. It's just a little bit different than other ones because it started off as an app. Most brokerages start off as websites or just paper trading. This is one of the first ones that at least I know of that started off as an app. So I think a lot of people get confused and get a little misconception, but Robinhood is a legitimate brokerage account. And just some other things about how I grew my portfolio, getting more into that from $0 to $5,000. And like I said before, you can check out my video I posted yesterday. I'll probably put the link in the description outlining that portfolio. But anyways, a couple ways that I did that and that I think it might help you as well, and I know it helped me a lot, is one thing, I didn't just simply like deposit $100 and never deposit again. I mean, I have like probably almost hundreds of deposits in my portfolio, because a lot of times it's just really small amounts of money. Like if I go back and look through my transfer history on the Robinhood app, if I can pull that up real quick, if I go all the way back to when I first got it, I first set up my account on January 30th and I deposited $50. Next day I deposited $120, then $30, then $45, then $21. And I mean, I could actually probably put something on my screen right here showing all my deposit history. I have I can't even count the number of deposits because it's so many. I've just constantly have been putting money into this portfolio, but I have also gotten some capital returns and dividend returns and things like that. But most of my returns actually, I shouldn't say returns, but most of the money in my portfolio is actually simply from me depositing money. And I think regularly depositing money is something that people totally forget about when investing, because like I was saying earlier, they think they could just deposit a certain amount of money and turn that amount into a substantially larger amount, which is super unrealistic and never going to happen. One tip to help with that I think helped me a lot and might help you as well if you're not very good with budgeting or you're just having trouble putting money into your portfolio, is Robinhood app actually has automatic deposits, and most brokerages / bank accounts do as well. So with automatic deposits, you can set it up weekly, bi-weekly, every day, monthly. I mean, most of them have a whole lot of options you could choose from, and you kind of have to sit down and look, at the end of the month or at the end of the week or every 2 weeks or whatever, all my bills are paid, all my gas, my car, my rent, whatever, food. How much money do I have left over, and how much of that money can I put towards investing towards my portfolio? I think that helped me a lot, kind of sitting down, figuring that out, crunching some numbers and figuring, how how much money I could put in there, because I do not make a whole lot of money. I literally work 2 part-time jobs. I'm a college student. I make a very, very small amount, only a few $100s off YouTube every month, which is great and everything, but I do not make a whole lot of money by any means, but I do have a lot more money saved up than people who make a lot of money. So I promise you can save, you can put money away. I mean, one thing to note that sort of might be different for you, I have like no sort of, I don't know, I don't have kids, I don't have a wife, I have no like dependents or anything like that. I just have me that I'm taking care of. So that might be totally different for your circumstance, which, you know, respect, that's understandable, but I still think you can definitely save some money and do some regular deposits. Some other things that just really about my overall investing philosophy and how I really grew my portfolio, and I think that helped a lot. One thing that helped is just building a large long-term portfolio. This will help you out in a handful of ways. Some of the biggest ones is that, one, if you're trying to do short-term, especially day trading, if you're trying to day trade like penny stocks or something like that, one thing is very, very difficult. Like, you are probably not going to be very successful like ever in your entire life at that. The second thing about it is it does not make any sort of sense in terms of taxes. I see a lot of investing, day trading gurus out there that are making claims of making, you know, X amount of money, but then when you take out those taxes, you're getting absolutely crushed. I mean, at least in my state, I mean, I live in the US, I live in New York. I mean, my taxes are pretty high and all, but you know, it could be anywhere from like 18 to like 30% of your gains that are just being taken out by taxes that you're going to have to pay in April. I think that's one of the biggest reasons out there why you shouldn't day trade, and why you should maybe consider leaning towards long-term trading, because the US government likes it a whole lot better if you hold onto the stocks for over a year, especially when it gets beyond that, because it just makes more sense. They believe that they want to keep the market somewhat volatile towards the upward trend, but they don't want to keep it too crazy. And when people are buying and selling and day trading, that's what creates market volatility a lot of the time. So, you know, government doesn't really want that. They want to keep it on track. They want to keep it steadily increasing, not going up and down like crazy. So in terms of taxes, I think it makes more sense to long-term invest. Some other things you might want to consider that I've done that have helped me a lot and may help you as well is just simply building a large portfolio that is well diversified. So let's say you decide not to day trade, you decide to go long-term investing, but you just invest all your companies into, or you invest all your money into tech stocks. Now, this might not be a bad idea. You might have the possibility of making a decent amount of money, but you know, let's say the tech sector just goes down like crazy and every other industry goes up and every other, you know, sector goes up. Then you're gonna get really killed there. You're gonna get really worried. You're probably not gonna be able to handle it or stomach it. My portfolio, I'm diversified across all the sectors. I will admit I am heavier in some sectors than others, like healthcare I don't have very many stocks in, utilities I don't have very many stocks in, but I do have more. I think the most is tech, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Then I'm not even sure what the next category is. It's probably tech, and then all the other ones are pretty close to even. But I think having a well-diversified portfolio across sectors is important as well. One other thing that helped me out a lot is aiming more towards large market cap, blue chip, dividend yielding stocks that are at a relatively fair value. Probably about like 90% of the stocks in my portfolio are companies that you have heard of. They're companies that have a fair PE ratio, that give out a dividend yield, that are very, very large companies. There are only a couple in there like Netflix, Twitter, and I think that's really it. Netflix and Twitter are really the only two companies I invest in that aren't huge companies that are giving me a solid dividend yield. I started to lean that way because when I first started investing, I tried to aim for small market cap companies, companies that were like on the rise, that maybe just IPO'd, that were relatively new to the market, and I tried to target those because, you know, in theory, if you, I think it's like if you invest in Amazon or like Netflix or some of these huge companies like 10, 20 years ago when they initially IPO'd, you'd be like a millionaire right now if you only invested a few $1,000s in them. So I feel like when I first started investing, I saw things like that, I saw stats about that, and that really enticed me to target small cap stocks. But once again, this didn't actually work out very well, and I had a lot better success aiming for large market cap blue chip companies. Now, I will say, you know, I invested in a stock like Netflix a while back. I invested in a stock like Twitter a little while ago when they were on a significant dip, and both of those have been the largest growers in my portfolio. But I will admit, I think I may have gotten lucky to an extent. If I was trying to do that with my entire portfolio, I don't think I would be very successful. So one thing that's helped me a lot is aim for large blue chip stocks. And another thing that I think just adds a little bit of cushion and help to your portfolio, at least to mine, is aiming for dividend yielding stocks. And it can't just be stocks that have a really high yield. It has to be stocks that have a sustainable yield. They're going to grow that yield. And I posted videos about dividend stocks and dividend investing. If you want to go check those out, I have a playlist on my channel about it. But I think that has helped my portfolio a lot. I mean, it adds an extra like 3% every single year to it or so. And I do reinvest all my dividends as well. So that helps also. Last thing I guess that I could think of just really about my portfolio that's helped it out a lot, and I think, you know, provides it with a little bit of safety, is also maybe add like 10 to 15% of ETFs to your portfolio, because that's what I do with mine. And I also, when I aim for ETFs, I try to go for broad ETFs that are have diversified holdings, or ones that just simply mirror a major stock market indice. Like I invest in VU S&P or Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, and they just simply mirror the S&P 500. I invest in another one that has a very well diversified portfolio, and then I invest in one that mirrors the Dividend Aristocrat. So those are 3 ETFs I invest in. They're about probably 10% of my portfolio right now. I got to up that a little bit sometime soon, but I think having a small percentage in ETFs, or even a large one, it's really totally up to you, can help out a little bit. But anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I just want to talk a little bit about how I was able to grow my portfolio from literally $0 to right now a little over $5,000. Let me know in the comment section, you know, do you have the Robinhood app? How is your portfolio doing? You know, do you not have the Robinhood app? Do you invest somewhere else? Just let me know. I'm always interested in hearing what you guys want to see. And let me know as well, you know, have you grown your portfolio? Is you struggling with your portfolio? Is that why you went to this video? Are you new to investing? You know, just stuff like that. I'm always interested in talking with you guys. But other than that, guys, if you haven't checked out my channel before, I talk about investing, the stock market, personal finance, things like that. So if you're interested in that stuff, definitely head over to my channel and consider subscribing. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching.